All right, this is definitely not the third attempt to start. This is Dawn Agreement, a D&D5E actual play. You want to comment on that this time again, Dave, or are you good?
See, last time I said actual play in a
It was
really
authentic.
whispered voice.
I
It
know,
was authentic.
yeah.
This time you can't squeeze a lemon that's already been squeezed, Arthur, okay?
Perfect. We just got to get those key words in there, you know. I'm going to say that again as well. This is the book.
The script says yes.
Yeah, of course, the script. Yep. The Book of Zazzit, Chapter 1. Why don't you tell us what Zazzit looks like as he approaches a large boat?
Okay, so my understanding of lizard folk in D&D is pretty basic, but Zazzit, for all intents and purposes, kind of looks like an upright alligator or crocodile, right? Like that's the sort of appearance that I imagined the lizard folk to have.
You said
he
he's
has
basic,
like
right? So he's got like a pumpkin spice latte and like juicy shorts. Nothing? No.
Okay. Don't do this to me. I'm trying to be serious here.
This is the least serious intro I've done so far.
I know. So he is a green and purple hue. He's got green eyes, and he has like a white, I don't know what you call it, underbelly part to him. He's got like a plume of hair, I guess you could call it. I'm not really sure what you'd call it. Like a frill. He's got a frill that's like purple and white going down his back. For the most part, he's basically naked, except for a darkened robe that he wears over his entire torso. It's basically just like a sheet, you know. Like it's not really designed for armor. It's designed for when he walks into human lands, they don't get upset that he doesn't have anything on. Because humans are fickle and they don't like the naked body. So he also has a short sword at his side. He has a very large bronzed skull coin that attaches to the robe to tie it all together. And the only other feature that is quite remarkable about him is the fact that he has a very large and prominent face tattoo in like a runic design. Basically, the design is irrelevant, but like it's very prominent, and it goes from the top of his brow all the way to the bottom of his snout, sort of thing.
As you make your way towards a boat that proudly emblazons itself as the River Serpent, you find in your hand a letter from Professor Regina Parsons-Dracos of the Dawn Agreement, asking you if you would like to continue your previous line of discussion in regards to heading out into the Strong Storm Sea and investigating unusual magical activity from the plane of water, under the guise of contacting the monstrous island residents who have not been seen since the Drought War began 5 years ago. With it, you find your traveler's coin, which on one side has a picture of your face, and on the other, a rising sun.
So, I mean, Zazzit will just sort of put it in the little hip pouch that he has, along with the coin, and he will wander over to the boat. What was it called again? Sorry.
The River Serpent.
River Serpent. Okay. Yeah. And essentially, he'll just look for someone who's working, maybe like a first mate or a captain or something.
You go to look around, and right before you reach the plank to walk over to the ship, someone who's in the rigging uses a rope to like swing and slide down and land in front of you on the plank, and the whole thing creaks and bends, and you're sure that it's going to break and dunk this guy in the drink, but no. It bounces him back up a few times. He stands before you, a human man, 6.5 feet tall, entirely covered in muscle, with just booty shorts on, very suntanned, and he says, "If you're looking for transport, little man, we don't have anything here for you. But if you're looking for a worthy sailor to join your crew, You also can't hire me.
Man, are you drunk?
The only thing I'm drunk on is success and the sea. And
Okay, get out
occasionally
of
an
my
ale.
way, please. You need
We
to
don't just
move.
let anybody on the river, Serpent Traveler. I'm afraid you're going to need to find another vessel to park your carcass on.
Okay, I'm supposed to be here. I don't know if you understand who you're talking to.
Oh, you're Zazzit! You're so much tinier than I thought you'd be. He holds a hand out.
What do you want me to do with that?
Well, normally we shake hands when we greet people. What do your people
Normally,
do?
you're a little bit more clothed than what you are right now.
Oh, are you offended? I could go get a shirt or something.
Your nipples literally have hair. It's quite disgusting.
I'm so glad you noticed. I consider it one of my most prominent features.
Okay.
I'll go get a
I
shirt if
board?
it'll make you feel better. Yes, of course. Come aboard. I'm Gombor the Sinewed. Remember that name. He continues walking away. Someone who is standing behind but not touching the wheel of the ship is a half-elven man, but perhaps his most defining immediate feature is the fact that all of his clothes have to be tailored around the fact that his back appears to be connected to a turtle shell from above his butt all the way to the back of his neck, just solidly sculpted onto his half-elven frame. So he wears something that's like a artisan smock and like pants, but pants that can't come up above his butt.
So it kind of looks like he's hunchback then.
Yes, but it is a very real turtle shell.
Okay.
Like when you're looking at it, this isn't a costume. It's real. He gestures for you to step up onto the captain's deck of the River Serpent.
I will do that.
The name is Sarin. I assume that you are our passenger, Zazzit.
Yes, what gave it away?
He stares at you for a while. We have prepared a quarters for you. It is beneath the forward part of the ship. I assume that you do not know naval terminology.
Why would I?
Well, the Dawn Agreement told me they were sending a sailor, but I assumed, like most things military, there would be a mistake somewhere along the line.
No, I'm fine with the water. I'm sure that's what they meant.
Yes, I'm sure that you would be fine with the water. The rest of us, however, need a boat for transport. Look, I understand that this is some sort of research attempt to gather magical knowledge.
Something like that.
Well, I take my business very seriously. So we may be conducting trade operations on each of these islands, and I would prefer that you not interfere with that.
Why would I care what you do with your boat? As long as I get to where I need to go, it's fine.
There are some who might be off-put by your whatever you call that, but I appreciate it. You stay out of my business, and I will stay out of yours. The hospitality of the River Serpent is at your disposal, he says as he takes off his not very good captain's hat and sweeps it into a bow, which basically just leaves you looking at his turtle back.
You have a very elegant spine.
Yes. You know, most people mention that a lot earlier in the conversation. I can tell you the story tonight over drinks if you'd prefer.
Okay. I will humor you.
You could see that they finished up gathering all the supplies they need for this voyage and whatever trade goods they're bringing. And people begin casting off lines as the ship gets towed to face the correct direction to leave port with this tide and wind. And you leave tide range behind you in the course of a matter of minutes as you set off into the strong. I'm having so much problems with this. The strong storm sea. There we go.
So I guess I'll head down to my quarters and see if they're reasonable.
It is not big, but it doesn't. You have a private quarters, but again, not very big. It's the size of a storage closet, or like someplace you might put clothing.
Okay. I mean, I'm not too bothered by that.
How are you with hammocks?
That is a good question. I don't think Zaz. I mean, Zaz has probably been around water a lot. He's probably been around boats a lot, given the fact that he, is sort of like a, what do you call it? Like someone who goes from kingdom to kingdom to sort of like, I guess, make himself known to courts and stuff.
Sure. We call that advisor.
Advisor. Yes.
Technically, it could be called a courtesan.
Well, I'm more like he's a representative of the lizard folk to a degree, right? Because most lizard folk don't pursue intellectual opportunities. So, they burden him with a lot of that stuff because they don't want to do it themselves. So
I understand. You're burdened with glorious purpose. Yes.
That's one way of putting it.
After you get yourself set up, someone knocks on the door of your quarters and then just opens the door without waiting. It is a human woman. She looks like she's maybe 4'10" with stark gray hair that's been done up into a bun. And she says, "Oh, you're Zazzit, right?"
I mean, you knew that when you came into my room.
That's true. I mean, there's not a lot of privacy on this boat. The name's Chakwas. I'm the boat's chaplain. I mean, we were told that you are also a cleric, although I'm not sure what denomination you belong to. Have no fear. I'm a pantheist. I appreciate all of the gods equally.
Zaz just sort of like, does like a lazy blink at her and is just like, okay.
Well, okay. Well, if you have any questions for me, religious or otherwise, you can come see me. Again, I'm the chaplain, and name's Chakwas.
And I am Zazzit, as you probably already know.
Yes, I thought maybe you'd want to have a chat, Sometimes people that are new on the sea like to... There's not a lot to do out here but talk, so...
Very well. What is it that you wish to converse about?
Oh, well, I mean, let me ask you this. What's your favorite tea?
I tend to like the one with herbs.
There are... Almost all teas are herbal tea, but I'll tell you what, I've got quite a few below decks, so if you ever want to have some herbal tea, I definitely can set that aside for you. My personal favorite, and just so you know, this conversation is going to go around for about 30 minutes before she switches topic. I don't know what Zazzit's level of patience for this is.
It's literally like, someone who just sort of like stares at them blankly. And like he's processing other things in his head while this lady's rambling on. It's sort of a skill that he's acquired when dealing with like, the fleshy races. They tend to prattle on. So he just does the thing where he goes, interesting, or like, very well. And they tend to like him for it. So it's kind of just like it's just it's a conversation skill. He's tried to teach it to other lizard folk, but they tend to get bored and tell them to go away very quickly. But,
She slaps you on the shoulder and says, "Wow, you're such a great listener. I don't know that I've ever told anyone that about my father. Well, I hope we can have more great conversations." You snap back to reality.
He's like, Okay. I wish to get situated. Thank you for
Sure.
conversing with me.
All right. You enjoyed yourself on the River Serpent. This is a very fine boat. And then she leaves. Hold on a second. I missed him. All
Got
right.
him.
No, I didn't. I'm not Karate Kid here. I'm the opposite of that. I'm slow.
You didn't wax on, wax off enough, you know. So, after getting situated and all that stuff, like I don't really have any like expensive belongings, like outside of like my book of spells and I guess that coin. I don't really have anything of value too much. So I'll head back up to the deck now that we're in movement and just sort of like people watch, I guess. Like there's not much else to do on this ship, so
After a few minutes, you notice that while you are people watching, somebody is Zazzit watching. One of the few crewmen who are barely involved in the operation of the sail, the wheel, and the rudder appears to be a gnomish man. Perhaps he doesn't get enough sun. He's very pale, and he's not short for a gnome, but he's certainly not tall. And he's smoking on a pipe while staring at you and occasionally looking away just so that it wouldn't raise your attention too much and then going back to staring at you.
I'll just sort of walk over to him and I was like, "Do you have a problem with me?"
No, not at all. Name's Chambers. I'm the cook. I wasn't sure what you eat. I wanted to make sure that your dietary concerns were covered as long as you're a passenger aboard the ship.
You have a funny way of asking it.
Well, you seem like you're maybe getting ready to eat me or someone on the boat. You got that look in your eyes like you're dead inside.
He just sort of looks around and is just like, "Oh, I'm confused. Why would I eat the people that are on the boat?"
I don't know. You seem distant, lad. Distant is all. I've
You
met a
seem to
few of
not
your
have-
kind.
Well, they must be very unique individuals then.
What? No, they're mostly like you,
Then why are you surprised?
Well, not all of them have that kind of grimness about them like you do. You got kind of an
See?
aura about you, son.
Very well. What color is my aura?
Death. You got like this like you're sucking the light out of everything around you. I'm very sensitive to this kind of thing, the supernatural, the extra normal.
Mm-hmm. As a chef, I assume that is one of the many skills that you have.
Well, look, when you live as long as my people do, chef is just a temporary profession. Lifelong learner is the true calling.
What are you learning now?
Well, apparently I'm learning about a man named Zazzit.
Why do people keep referring to me as a man?
I mean, technically, you are a male, are you not? I mean, you might not be a man since that specifically refers to a human.
Exactly my point.
But
Thank you
it's
for making it.
unusual to refer to somebody as a male, Like if I just called, oh, look at that male over there. It sounds odd, doesn't it?
Just refer to me as Zazzit. What is the problem?
I mean, is there a way to refer to you in third person? He?
Lizard folk.
All right. That lizard folk over there. All right. I can do that.
Yeah,
Well, all right,
lifelong
lizard
learner
folk.
is correct.
I just wanted to make sure you don't have any unusual dietary restrictions.
Is meat unusual?
You mean, can you eat it or can you not eat it?
You asked if it was unusual.
I mean, I'm asking if you can eat meat.
Yes.
All
What a
right.
strange question.
Can you eat fish?
Fish is meat.
technically that is true. Milk?
Well, you don't eat milk.
But you consume... Okay. You know what? I feel like you're really... We're having creamed fish stew tonight, all right? And I just want to make sure you don't choke and die on it.
Let me ask you this. If I had dietary concerns, would it have changed the menu at all?
I would prepare a special meal specifically for you. You're a guest aboard this ship.
My experiences with the ship is you eat or you don't.
This is a different kind of vessel, I think you'll find. Just like you're perhaps a different kind of person.
Is there a similar kind of person that I should be?
Just, I get the sense about you that you're not, average. Most people don't charter an entire ship. You don't seem like you're a wealthy merchant. Nor did you bring any cargo aboard, so...
Have you never worked with someone attempting to establish connections with other empires?
No, that's pretty unusual. I don't know that many people have done that, period, like throughout history. It's a fairly rare job. Like I said, you seem like a unique individual.
You could say I'm very socially inclined.
Is there someone who would say that?
Most of the lizard folk that I have met in my life would agree with me.
Okay. He gives you a slow nod that's like, my gods, this is the most social lizard folk there is.
Zazzit's pretty proud of himself as well. He's just like, yeah. Yeah. I believe the humans call it the gift of the gab.
All right. He dismisses himself, both incredulous and trying not to laugh at you. Is there anything else you'd like to do before night falls and they anchor the ship to keep it from drifting at night?
I mean, not particularly. I mean, yeah, I think at this point, Zazzit is just... I mean, he's happy to just look at people.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people like maybe misinterpret that, but he's just, he's the type of character that'll sit in the corner and look at people. Like.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, we're the same actually. Zazzit and I are very social people. Apparently. All right, so there is a non-denominational pantheist service every night before dinner on the deck. Did you want to join that?
I mean, as far as entertainment is concerned, that sounds pretty entertaining.
All right, so Chakwas leads through like the virtues of all of the gods, and she doesn't forget the god of death, but given that only unusual people like you who are chosen avatars of the god of death actually know their real name, she doesn't mention that person by name. She just talks around and just she gives a blessing asking the god of death to stave off anything that might happen to them.
So Zazzit's not really like basically reacting to anything, but when she talks about the god of death, he can't help but like smirk and nod along. He's like, yes, the god of death, getting recognition out here in the boat. His reaches are far.
How do you feel about the other gods being celebrated? Do you have any issue with that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like how people choose. Like, Zazzit just sort of sees it as like, what? You want to live your life like following this? Oh, okay. I don't give a shit. It's your life. You can choose to live it wrong if you like.
You're allowed to make your own mistakes. So condescending.
Some people might learn from it, but you probably won't. Like,
as this is happening, you begin to feel something through your sorceress power. There is an energy gathering, not specifically around the boat, right? It's not centered on you, but the boat is inside of whatever range it has. The emanation is coming to the southwest of you, and the boat is anchored, so it's not moving. But you can feel pulses of power in the air, and very few other people react to this. You almost feel like Chakwas is like, does, but she looks confused and then doesn't, like, just continues with the service.
All right, I'm gonna leave abruptly. Like,
Okay.
not quietly either. He just like leaves and
Okay.
goes to see what the problem is.
Sure. Make a perception check and an arcana check.
All right, let's see, perception. Yeah, 10. That'll do. 13.
Okay. Sure.
Perception.
Sure. Give me an arcana.
10.
You take a look, trying to guide yourself with your magical sense to figure out what's happening, and you see something forming in a distance away from the boat. It is a ice elemental spirit. So not like a full elemental, like something that one day may form up to that. It looks like a floating snowflake that hasn't fully continued doing the fractal pattern yet. Like parts of it are missing. And it begins moving towards the boat as if curious about it. But as it does, in the area 30 feet below it, the water begins icing over immediately into a glacier. And Zazzit, you're from a southern tropical land of the Gonog jungle, but I'm pretty sure even you know that a boat being hit by this much ice is really bad.
I see. So I will make my way to the captain.
All right. Captain is about to sit down and have his dinner, and he says, "Yes, what is it?"
There is an ice elemental forming to the southwest of the boat. I suggest you do something about it, or
You're
going to have problems.
He stands up and he's like, "Icer to the southwest, everyone to your stations! Man the ballista!" Everybody begins break. You're still talking, and the room is empty.
What's on his plate?
Oh, it is, the promised stewed creamed fish.
Any bread
Looks like
rolls?
any bread roll? Oh yeah, and we're not talking the hardtack. You guys were just in port, right? So this is like fresh bread made this morning, and it's like the potato rolls. All right, you just grab some potato rolls. There's even some butter here, and like a little bit of like a container of bacon fat that you could slather onto your bread if you wanted to.
No, I'm just gonna dip it into his soup and just like eat it and walk
Oh my
out.
god, you're a monster. Says it is the worst. Incredible. The situation seems to resolve itself within like 10 or 15 minutes. Are you still there eating his soup when he gets back?
I walk out to like see what's going on, basically. Like I'm walking out just like eating a bread roll, just like just watching them do their business.
No one will ever suspect the bread roll thief. The soup dunker. All right, so
You don't dunk? Come on, man. You got to dunk.
Chakwas appears to be pleading with the elemental in a primordial language to turn away. There's a lot of hand gesturing. Everyone else
Pretty sure I
seems...
speak primordial. Hang on.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Where's the
Languages?
Where's my languages? Yeah.
I mean, it should be on D&D Beyond. You speak Infernal, Elvish, Common, and Draconic.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So you don't understand what she's saying, but you are seeing a lot of pushing away hand motions. Most of the crewmen have either taken to the rigging with torches or are using torches to like try to keep the, like, if the elemental comes, they're gonna like push the torch towards them. You can tell a lot of them are nervous because having a torch in the rigging could be a recipe for disaster. The whole ship could set fire in just a few minutes. But it's better than icing over the whole ship. The captain is ordering Gombor the Sinewed to, so like there's not enough people to man the ballista, so Gombor is doing it himself, like pushing the ballista into place, trying to manually aim it. What was the game I played recently where you did have to manually fire like ballista and crap, and it was awful? The aiming was terrible. Did we both play that? I feel like
Maybe.
I talked to you about it. What game could it have been?
It's not Back for Blood.
No, it would have been before that. It was awful manual aiming system.
No idea.
No idea either.
The only thing I can think of is like Monster Hunter World, but like
No. All right, so the elemental eventually is gutted by the ballista bolt being fired through it. It breaks into tiny snowflakes, which begin dropping onto the sea, and then the ice begins dissolving in every direction. The crew begin
Excellent
cheering
shot.
and return back to their dinner. Oh, did you say excellent shot? Gombor comes over and stands in front of you and goes, ha, 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 ha. He's still not wearing a shirt. He's just got the booty shorts. Thank you, my small little lizard friend. It was an excellent shot because I am Gombor the Sinered, and I am very strong, but also very clever.
You know, being more humble would probably make you more appealing to the opposite sex. I would suggest you follow that.
I have no problems with humility, nor do I have problems with the opposite sex. Thank you very much, Mr. Zazzit, for your concern. Come, you should sit next to me at dinner.
No, thank you.
All right. He looks deeply wounded when you say that.
Until you wear a shirt, I won't be walking around you.
All right. He runs downstairs and immediately grabs his shirt.
Yeah, Zazzit's like immediately just like, damn it, I didn't think he would actually wear a shirt.
He just wants to sit next to you, buddy. He wants to be best friends.
All right, so
He doesn't
fine.
meet new people very often.
Sure, okay. Yeah, so I'll, peer pressured into sitting next to her.
Perfect. Look, I remember, audience, I'm going to let you behind the scenes a little bit. When this game was starting, Dave was like, I'm going to play with no emotions. And now, in episode 1, I already got him feeling bad about Gombor the Strong, the Sinered. Please go ahead. You're sitting next to him now.
Yep. And the moment I finish my dinner, I leave, basically.
All right. You scatter away.
Yeah. But, basically the conversation goes, he talks, I pretend to listen, and then I leave.
Perfect. You learn nothing about the 16 knots that are important to the ship's operation. Let me ask you a question. What does praying to your god in order to receive spells look like? Because when you wake up the next morning, of course, the first thing you do is pray to the god of death, whose name that you and very few others may know is Zugurad.
So I imagine it's more less praying and more like waking nightmare, I guess, almost like at the end of your sleep, he sort of just like pops in and just reminds you about the life in general. And that's sort of how we commune for the most part. It's less about praying and more about like he's an invasive part of his life, essentially.
So I feel like you hear the name Zugurad, and you look over an alien landscape that you see almost every night of bodies on bodies on bodies, not just of dead sentient creatures, but also like broken rocks.
I've seen this scene before.
Dried ocean. Yes, I know. Well, you were supposed to do this before that episode. You know that, right? Like we were supposed to do this last week, and it would have been clever and original then. I mean, you see dead concepts as well, like a cracked moon, a dried ocean, a rotted ship. But you also see a lot of bodies of creatures perhaps you've never even seen before. Like each night, perhaps you see a new dead species of something.
So It's probably like there's probably a lull like after I arrive at this place in my dreams where like because the lizard folk have this artisan ability where they can use the parts of a corpse to build things essentially. So I imagine a lot of what the communing actually is sort of like there is a time where I have to build a cairn of some description to the god, and it's mostly out of like corpse parts, I assume, mostly bone, not so much flesh, but mostly bone. And every night he adds something to this somewhat growing immense cairn to this god.
You hear a voice say, "What do you desire?"
We've been over this every night. Knowledge, that's it.
Choose your prayers with care. Bring me the knowledge.
So he'll, basically like write in, I guess, some sort of like ink quill. Ink quill, and then what do you call the thing where you dip the ink into? Dip the quill into? Inkwell. Sorry. That's probably filled with some sort of dark, sticky blood, and he'll just write upon like
You're making your order
wall.
menu, one cure wounds.
Yeah.
I actually like that concept. It fits very well with my idea of Zugurad. Yeah, you make your choices for the day as if you were ordering brunch. Mm-hmm. When you wake up, reptiles can't sweat, and so you wake up incredibly hot because you should be sweating, but you aren't. And like you do every morning, you have to seek the sweet relief of colder air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he'll, go to the top deck. Is that what we call it? Top deck. Yeah.
Yes, there's a top deck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, trust me, we are not going to use the real naval terms because I'm going to just...
Zazzit doesn't know them anyway.
It's a brigantine, okay?
Mm-hmm. But also he'll walk out without any of his like robe or anything like that because he's hot. He needs to cool down.
All right. Well, you should know that none of the people here care that you're walking around naked, right? Like,
great.
Gombor,
that means they don't have to wear the thing anymore.
Yep.
So
Gombor the Sinew is not the only one walking around in what is essentially shorts. For the folks at home, this isn't just a brigantine; it's also Bermudan rigged.
Whatever that means.
I could explain it to you, but it would take a while.
Well, it's suitable to drive through the Bermuda Triangle, so we're good.
What? It's suitable to get through the Sargasso Sea, perhaps.
It's a triangle formation.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I thought the Bermuda Triangle and UFOs and quicksand were going to be a lot more relevant to my adult life than they are now.
I still think the Bermuda Triangle will come back with a vengeance at one point. So.
It won't. It never will. We have really accurate GPS data.
Or do we? Anyway.
I feel like that's it. I feel like this is a good place to call this as the next morning begins. Just in case you missed it, Zazzit is a sorcerer cleric hybrid.
Yeah.
Some weirdo stuff, but Dave is the master of doing weird things.
Well, specifically, he's a sorcerer that has I forget what the class denomination is called, but it's the one that allows him to dip into having sorcerer spells as well as cleric spells. Divine Soul, that's the one. But then I also took a level of cleric for particular reasons, specifically the death cleric. So it should be a very interesting character, I think.
Okay.
Definitely.
Dave, why don't you tell us...
we're in the guts arc right now where they never get off the fucking boat. So like,
You get off the boat at the start of the next episode.
okay, good. or
Jesus.
several months of never getting off the boat.
No. What is this, One Piece? Give me a break.
No, it's the guts. It's Berserk. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know Berserk. I know a lot of people talk about Berserk, but
There was just all you need to know is that there was because Berserk updates once a month,
yeah.
and there was like a period of time where they did 7 updates, so 7 months of him just being on a boat traveling, and it was like you can
Filler
make speed
arc?
go at any. You can no, it wasn't filler. It was just canon, but it was just him on a boat, and it was just the most infuriating thing.
I mean,
Anyway,
you can
doesn't matter.
have filler that's canon. It's just annoying while you wait for the story to start.
Yeah.
Dave, why don't you tell us about who you are, where people can find you, and what you do?
Hey everyone, my name is Dave, and I am a former Twitch streamer turned video game developer. I make adult games and normal games, and you can find my work at Twitter, safest place to go to, at Kinky Fridays, and at SquibblyInt, short for interactive. So those are my 2 companies, and Squibbly is brand new, but Kinky's been around for a while, and we're about to release our 2nd game on Steam at the end of this month. So that should be really, really interesting to see how that goes. And yeah, I make other stuff.
Okay. That's it. Strangely, this video probably won't be out until Tuesday, given how jammed up my schedule is, which means that Lawson, who will be recording on Monday, won't be out till Wednesday.
Oh my god.
Listen, I'm making too many episodes of shows lately. Too many. And I even gave up putting gaming videos out. Still too many. It's crazy.
We good for Thursday next week?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to reset to doing you at Thursday at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So you're actually going to move around in the schedules. Zazzit is supposed to normally be in week 1 at Thursday, but we had to do some shuffling. Friends.
Yeah, I had stuff to do. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Have a good time, Zone. That one's still for you, Zonalar.